What's goody, everybody? Shadow Tories here, and today I decided to revisit my power scaling roots and put together a little versus video which will pit the Fire Princess and almost Fire Lord Azula versus the Great Uniter and the commander of the Earth Empire, Kuvira. Now, this versus video will be split into 3 categories, and that will be physical capabilities, bending ability, and tactical prowess. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about Azula first. Now, Azula is quite the physical combatant. In terms of her physical capabilities, one of her greatest feats was being able to keep up and disarm Suki. That's the same woman who managed to go toe-to-toe with Ty Lee and give her an amazing fight. As well, she is able to fight evenly and even press Aang. As we know, airbenders are known for their incredible evasion and agility, which speaks volumes about what Azula can dish out combat-wise. Azula is even able to defend herself from Aang, Katara, and Sokka all at the same time. Though they were pushing her back into a corner, this was still a good showing. Now let's move on to her opponent. Now, Kuvira has a few physical showings that we can go over. For one, she has a background in dance from the Sulin dance troupe, which shows she is able to maintain balance and posture while in more energetic situations. This is shown several times in the way she fights, but we'll get back to that later. She shows several times to be able to keep up and even defeat the likes of Su Lin and Lin Beifong, who were trained by Toph herself, showing that she's able to keep up with the best of them and even stalemates Korra. Now, when it comes to the verdict of the physical capabilities round, honestly, this isn't easy. Both these ladies are incredible combatants, and under normal circumstances, I would probably put them as equal. But since this is a versus video, and I typically have to pick a winner, I'm gonna say it goes to Azula. While Kuvira's background in dance would help her stay lighter on her feet and keep her balanced, she just doesn't have the same kind of agility that Azula has shown, still being somewhat grounded like an earthbender. So Azula wins in physical capabilities. Now, Azula grew up in the Fire Nation royal family, meaning she would have access to the best firebending instructors imaginable. But more than that, Azula was an unnatural firebending prodigy, showing far more experience than her older brother Fire Prince Zuko, who went on to train the Avatar and even became the Fire Lord. One of her greatest feats of firebending was creating a protective sphere around herself to protect her from the combined attack of Aang, Katara, Toph, Sokka, and Zuko all at the same time. As well, Iroh stated that Zuko alone would lose to Azula even when he was a master. Azula is capable of generating lightning and firing at her opponents, even when she was mentally unstable, though this does take time to generate. And she even is able to redirect lightning simply after seeing Zuko do it once, meaning she can copy firebending techniques just from a glance. This might even translate over to her copying moves from other bending styles and translating them over to firebending to improve herself, but that's only a theory. Now, Kuvira is one of the strongest earthbenders we have ever seen. Not only is she a master earthbender, but she is also a master of metalbending. Her style of metalbending and earthbending is quite different from the traditional. Where traditional earthbenders are rooted and stationary, hers is more light-footed and mobile. She fights like a boxer, bobbing and weaving between her opponent's movements and striking at their weakest point, similar to the principle of waiting and listening Toph employs. She also tends to like to disturb her opponent's perch with the ground to throw him off balance and land attacks as seen in her first fight with Korra. The best way to describe her is like a sniper with a Tommy gun, precise rapid fire. Her best feats are being able to best Su Lin Beifong in one-on-one combat, and not only beating a nerfed Korra, but then going on to stalemate Korra when she's back at full power in base form. This is impressive because Korra was not only a master of all 4 elements at the time, but also had a great grasp of metalbending as well, and Kuvira still managed to stalemate her. Now, both combatants are incredibly skilled with their respective bending moves. Azula able to block multiple benders at once, and Kuvira having fought the Avatar, who was a master of all 4 elements and 1 sub-element. But that being said, I don't believe either combatant would have the advantage in overall bending ability. Therefore, I declare bending ability a tie. Now, in terms of her tactics, Azula has some interesting showings. Her biggest showing was when she thought of sneaking into Ba Sing Se as Kyoshi warriors, managing to easily outplay Long Fei and take over Ba Sing Se. Long Feng was smart enough to control the entirety of Ba Sing Se with his Dai Li agents, and she not only managed to outplay him, but as she said, he wasn't even a player. Azula is also a master of reading people, able to work her opponent and find their weaknesses and exploit them. Even in something as simple as a ball game, she managed to pinpoint her opponent's weak foot and use it to her advantage to win the game rather easily. As well, it's difficult for others to read her, like how Toph can't tell if she's lying or not. In a fight, this means she is hard to predict, but can easily predict what her opponent will do. She would size up her opponent with a sprinkling of Firebending, and once she's found their weakness, she would go in and exploit it. Kuvira as well has some interesting strategy feats. Kuvira managed to unite the entirety of the Earth Empire after the Earth King had fallen to Zahir, which would require a lot of cunning and a good strategic mind. She also managed to easily plan and deal with the bandits who attack her and her army trying to rob them, systematically dealing with each one with great precision. She even managed to systematically dismantle Korra in their first meeting, though Korra was off her game. Kuvira is also a master of trash talk while she fights, throwing off her opponent's game in most cases and making them slip up. Now, when it comes to their strategizing, both are rather skilled in the art of the mind. However, I would favor Azula more in this regard, simply due to the fact that she has shown far more impressive strategies than Kuvira ever has. So the winner here is Azula. Now, who would win the fight if these two ever came to blows? Well, that part's rather tricky. While Kuvira is good at tripping up her opponent's footing and throwing off balance, I'm hard pressed to believe that that would work on Azula due to her agility. And while Azula is incredibly good at picking apart her opponents and finding a weakness in them, I would also be hard pressed to believe she could find a weakness that would give her a sizable advantage over Kuvira. This match is incredibly close, and depending on circumstance, it could go either way. But in the end, I believe Azula would be victorious. The reason being that she's superior physically and has a better tactical mind. And while the battle would be grueling and long, I believe Azula would come out on top. But that's just what I think. So leave in the comments down below who you think would win. Have a nice day!